Welcome to the question of the day. Today's question is from Randy in North Carolina. And Randy asks, what questions do I ask to pre-qualify leads before I run them? Great question. My quick and dirty answer is not as many as you think. So this is a question I often get, and sometimes this is a red flag of what type of salesperson is asking the question. Sometimes a salesperson is genuinely asking because they just want to know, what do I need to know to run a call? And that's great. And that's how I'm going to take this question. That's how I'm assuming you're asking this question. But also sometimes I get this question, and as I dig in further, I find that sometimes they're asking this because they're a lazy salesperson and they're trying to get someone else to do the work for them up front. They're trying to minimize the effort they need to put forth to get a sale. And so they're trying to pre-qualify the leads, so they just have to run the laydowns. Like I worked with a salesperson one time that he was closing 95% in HVAC sales. And I told him, I was like, dude, you're either the best salesperson I've ever worked with, or there's something more going on here. Well, as we dug in further, we found we were really pre-qualifying leads. Like he was literally only running 45-year-old HVAC systems that they don't even make parts for anymore. Well, of course he's closing 95%, right? So these are the people that are usually never excelling at sales, but they're happy with just enough, right? They're complacent, they're passive. They never really have goals. They're never looking to raise the bar. They're just trying to go out there and sell whatever sells. If the customer buys, they buy, but they really don't get too invested in it. I had an example of this when I was a sales manager. So this is going back to automotive sales. I was a sales manager at a large Toyota store, and I had a customer come up front, and I greeted them at the front door. Now I'm a sales manager, so I'm not running test drives and stuff like that, but I greeted them and asked a couple of questions, and I passed them off to a salesperson. And the salesperson said to me, "Are they buying?" And I looked at him with these wide eyes, like, did he just ask me that? And I was like, dude, that's your job. Like, get out there and take them on a test. That's your job to determine if they're buying or not. It's not my job. My job's not to sit here and pre-qualify leads and serve you up with customers that are just coming in to buy. Oh my goodness, right? And it was exactly that. He was that guy, never had any goals. I'm just here to sell my 10 cars a month. Like, and he's just passive, right? Never amounted to anything great in regard to sales, anyways. Now, a great salesperson, on the other hand, has the attitude of just get me in front of them. There's no pre qualifying. Everyone is an opportunity, and time is of the essence, right? Speed to lead is a real thing. That's the attitude of a great salesperson. And in the trades here, like if we were looking at HVAC, speed to lead is a real thing. Like if I can get these tech generated leads and not pre-qualify these, just run them as fast as I can, get out there as fast as I can, and then run the process. Don't like rush through the process, but get out there as fast as I can. If I can get to that tech generated lead the day of, it's gonna close at 83%. 83%. But if it falls to the next day, that urgency goes down and now it's down to like 50%. And the next day is 25%. The day after that is, I don't know, less than that, whatever that is. So I'm going to take your question as the first example here. You genuinely want to know, what do I need to know to run a call? And you have that attitude of like, just get me in front of them. You have that attitude of a great salesperson. So really the only things I really need to know are, is the homeowner or the decision maker going to be there? Like that's a big one because I don't want to run a call where the homeowner's not there or one of the decision makers not there. I want to try to set that up that the homeowner decision maker is there. If I have no one to sell to, obviously I can't sell. It's going to make it really tough. And that's why I often say don't run landlord calls because the landlord, the owner, the decision maker, is usually not there. So those are really tough calls to run. And if you're priced right, you're going to be more expensive and you're going to be just a number on a sheet of paper and they weren't there. And so you're not going to get picked. So, homeowner, decision maker, they have to be there. That would be one thing I want to know before I go run the call. Maybe the next thing I want to know is like, what's the opportunity? What's the opportunity? And this is more of a mindset thing than somebody doing the work ahead of me. Now, the customer is going to call in with something, whatever that is, a leaky faucet, right? But it's our job to look beyond that and see what the real opportunity is. And so whoever's setting this, they're asking smaller questions too, like age of the home, age of the equipment, what's broken, tell me about that. Like there's other information that's going to help me identify that opportunity here. So those are good things to know. But really it's a mindset thing of knowing why I'm running the call, but really what the opportunity is beyond that. So, for example, let's do an HVAC example, a system check, right? Like it's a system check, but it's a 17-year-old furnace. This is a replacement opportunity, but it's also a system check, right? So it's a replacement opportunity that I'm also doing a system check on. Okay. That's how my mind has to be wired. That's how I have to see this opportunity. It's a replacement opportunity that I'm also doing a system check on. Like a plumbing example, right? Maybe they called in about a leaky faucet, but it's a 50-year-old home. Well, that's a repipe opportunity. So I'm running a repipe opportunity that also has a leaky faucet. If we're talking electrical, I'm running a call on a new house, something about an outlet. An outlet doesn't work, right? Well, that's not just an outlet call. That's LED. That's automation upgrades. That's an opportunity that I'm also going to fix the outlet while I'm out there. So it's asking questions when you get out there, like what's stopping you from making this awesome? And having that mindset of following your process and including the whole home inspection. Because when you do that whole home inspection, you're going to find opportunities. There was a company I worked with up in the Northwest, a plumbing and electrical company. And as I rode along with their plumbers and electricians, one of the things I noticed is we didn't do a really good job of those whole home inspections, which is part of the process. And so I really leaned into that in setting the visual agenda that we would do a whole home inspection. And right there, like the first ones we started running, we found opportunities right away. Very first one we ran with a plumber as they were doing the whole home inspection, we uncovered a bathroom that was not being used by the homeowner. They hadn't used it in 3 years because the sink wasn't hooked up. And all it was literally the drain was not attached underneath. That was it. The plumber, this didn't even end up being work. The plumber just reached under there, attached it, and said, "You're good to go." Like, how awesome is that? This homeowner had not been using their bathroom for 3 years because the sink didn't work. And now they could use their sink. That was it, right? Because we did the whole home inspection. So this led into the company was now bought in. We have to set that visual agenda, do our whole home inspections, follow that process. The very next week, they sold 100% of the opportunities that they uncovered. 100%. 100%. Now, I'm not saying it was the top opportunity, but it was always something in addition to the reason that they were out there. 100% of the time, they found something and sold something in addition to the reason that they were out there, simply because they started doing those whole home inspections and they had that mindset of finding the opportunities, that's the reason that they're out there. And they're not just selling stuff, like they're not making stuff up just to upsell customers. These are actual opportunities for the homeowner. That homeowner wanted to use that bathroom. They didn't buy that house not to use that bathroom. They want to use it. So these are real opportunities. And when you're out there and you're doing this, you're building the rapport, the trust, all of that goes with it too. That when you then find these things, now they trust you that these are opportunities and you're not upselling. So I mean, this company, they had to bring that, right? Like they were doing that. They just weren't doing the whole home inspections. But I mean, that's really it. Just get me in the home, make sure the homeowner's there, and I'll do the rest. More information helps, but don't talk yourself out of these opportunities. Like you could do that on every call. You could sit here and look at the information and pick out every reason this isn't going to sell. That's a very negative mindset, and you're not going to do well in sales if you do that. You need to have that opportunistic mindset. What's the opportunity here? Why is this going to sell? The other thing I would bring up here is often when this question comes up and I'm talking to a company about this, usually as a company, we're not even running a full lead board here, right? So, like for example, we'll have salespeople that are just running 2 calls a day. And then they're asking me about pre-qualifying leads. And I'm like, man, 2 calls a day. Your salespeople are working like a 4 to 6 hour workday. Like that's a pretty good gig. Like I would even apply to sell there if I could just work 4 to 6 hours a day and get by. Like that's not even a full workday. So like why are we pre-qualifying leads? Like run the leads. You have the capacity to do so. The only exception I would maybe say you could pre-qualify and pick and choose some leads would be like the hottest week of the year and you are just slammed and you have more calls than you can handle, then maybe you have to do some prioritization. Um, but I mean, if this is happening other times of the year, well, it just sounds like you need to do a better job planning and hiring and retaining because that shouldn't be very often. So most times you have the capacity. Why are we even pre-qualifying these leads? Just make sure the homeowner's there. You need some other basic information to know what the opportunity is, have that mindset, and then go out and run your process. So I'll close with this. I'll close with this. I remember when I was in high school football, I was a running back. And a problem I had as running back is I could not see the hole. Like you would have a play designed where the blockers, the offensive line would create a hole. And as a running back, I was supposed to hit the hole. Like as it opened up, I was supposed to be running through the hole. And the problem was I would always panic. Like I would not see the hole. I would just see a bunch of butts in front of me. And so then I would just dance to the outside. I would always like bounce it to the outside. And the coach, I remember, Coach Dempsey was his name, grabbed me by the face mask. And he said, in some colorful language that was probably advanced for my age at the time, he said, hit the damn hole. So I looked for the hole. I trusted my line. I slowed down and executed the play. I trusted the play, the process. I hit the damn hole. And it completely changed my high school career as a running back. Very next game, actually, I busted a 70-yard touchdown run because as the hole opened up, I hit the hole. I ran through. There was nobody there. And once I got through, nobody was catching me. Nobody was stopping me. 70-yard touchdown. Same thing here. Hit the damn hole. Run the damn lead. Stop thinking of all the reasons it's not going to sell and run the damn lead. That's today's question of the day. If you're enjoying question of the day, follow, share, give a rating. Question of the day is on major streaming platforms. If you have a question, reach out to me either on social media or email. Both are going to be listed below in the show description. Let's get your questions answered. Or if you're a Nextstar member, schedule a call with me and we can address this one-on-one and get very specific to your situation. I'm Coach Chris. We'll see you tomorrow.